Today on NA, we got some more trio changes, as after only one tournament, Khanada decided to drop Muz and Rise to play with the World Cup champion Bugha and Threats, and this comes as a bit of a surprise because I feel like they didn't perform too bad in the Eval Cup and got pretty unlucky at times, which was only this past Tuesday, which was just a day ago almost. But at the same time as me saying this, I did actually expect the trio of Khanada, Muz, and Rise to actually split at some point this season, but this is definitely earlier than expected for even me. Khanada says he decided to make this trio change because Seaport is a better drop spot than Shifty Shafts, and I do agree with this statement. And he also said the playstyle of Rise and Muz he didn't really enjoy playing with, so playing with Bugha and Threats will be better going forward. And if you aren't caught up on why Bugha, Threats, and Aviv are not playing anymore, I believe it is because of the lack of interest Aviv has in the game, and he just didn't really grind last season, which led to him not doing so great in Grands. And I believe as of right now, Bugha is actually locked in for this season and willing to grind and try to perform well. And I think if the new trio of Bugha, Khanada, Threats are grinding, it could be a solid change and they could perform well. But I do think Rise and Muz are a little bit better of a tandem than Bugha and Threats. Then as for who Rise and Muz are going to be playing with, they played scrims today with Virgo and they actually did pretty solid. So this will most likely be the trio for the near future, unless someone else becomes available somehow. Let me know your thoughts on Khanada snaking Rise and Muz for Bugha and Threats, and if you guys see Bugha grinding this season and how well that trio of Khanada, Bugha, and Threats can do. Then another story we got today, we got a tweet from Mero that said looking for trio, and the big question with this tweet is, do we actually think he's being serious, or is this just another impression farm since crypto coin prices are actually starting to fall across the board? I believe it's a troll, but if he's actually being serious, this could definitely shake up things even more in the trio market, and he definitely wouldn't be the first player who left Fortnite to grind crypto, then came back and is starting to lock back in on Fortnite like Bryce and Bugha, and also others as well. So we're gonna have to see if Mero's actually being serious here about returning and looking for trio. But now let's take a look at a top NA teams drop map. And if you guys are not caught up on where the big seven, as I like to call them, are landing, we're going to start with the top trio. At the top POI, we have Peterbach, Cold, and Puyo landing at the Crime City. And this is easily the best drop on the map. They get the Mythic Mammoth every single time. Because if you guys did not know, the train actually spawns the Mythic Mammoth every single time in competitive, when it's actually supposed to be randomly spawned at a single vault every single game. It's not randomly spawned in comp. It spawns on the train every single time. So Peterbach, Cold, and Puyo do get the Mythic Mammoth pistol every single game in comp right now. Then we also have Rise, Muz, Virgo landing Shiny Shafts right to the west of them. Then looking north, we have Clixiamzo and Batman Bugha landing at the Lone Wolf Lair. And this is turning out to be one of the better drops in competitive. As if you guys didn't know, there's a black market right to the east of this drop spot where this team can buy 16 chugs every single game. So Clixiamzo, Batman Bugha, who are one of the only teams on the map that can afford that in the black market with gold, because of their vault in their POI at Lone Wolf Lair, Clixiamzo, Batman Bugha have one of the better drops on the map because of that. Then to the north of Clix, we have Yapko, Bolts, and Rapid, who are landing Flooded Frogs. The best drop from last season is actually a pretty good drop once again. And Yapko, Bolts, and Rapid performed very well in scrims on the first day of the season, but we have yet to see them after that. And they also did not qualify to the first eval finals of the season. So outside of that first day of the season, we haven't seen much of Yapko, Bolts, and Rapid, but I believe this is going to be a pretty solid team. Bolts is one of those players like Bugha who was focusing on crypto last season, who is really locked in on Fortnite this season. So we're going to have to see how this trio does. Then going to the south side of the map, we have Bugha, Khanada, and Threats, the new trio that I mentioned early in this video, landing Seaport City. We're going to have to see how this trio does, but they do have a vault, and they also have that black market right to the south of them at the fields. And then after that, we have a little bit of an update. We have a big off spawn that's actually developed over the past day or so. Acorn, Aders, and Ritual did switch their drop spot to Mass Meadows. They were going to land Seaport City at the beginning of the season, and ever since then, they have been landing Mass Meadows, and they are going to be contesting Cooper, Vidil, and Sphinx off spawn. And unlike one of my recent videos where I said Cooper, Vidil, and Sphinx are going to go to EU, they've actually then decided to stay in NA. And Vidil, who is not yet in NA, he went back to EU after Grands. He will be back soon. So starting next week with the first divisional cup, we might be able to see this off spawn. Now, one thing to know with this off spawn is that Acorn, Aders, and Ritual are currently qualified to land. So they kind of have the advantage here. They are the land qualified team. and that could be a big contributing factor to maybe Cooper Vidal Sphinx leaving the drop spot. So we're gonna have to see how that unfolds, but Acorn Ager's Ritual, Cooper Vidal Sphinx is gonna be a pretty big off spawn whenever Vidal gets back to an A. So we're gonna have to see how that unfolds, if they actually fight off spawn, if Cooper Vidal Sphinx maybe leave the drop spot, go somewhere else, or if they're gonna risk maybe not qualing to land this season with their EU teammate and griefing a drop spot all season versus a team that's qualified to land. So there's a lot happening on an A right now, and also potentially a lot that can change as well. So make sure you guys do subscribe with notifications on to always be caught up on anything that happens with any of these big NA storylines, like maybe Mero coming back, or maybe some big potential trio or drop spot changes. We're gonna have to see what unfolds in the near future. So make sure you guys do subscribe with notifications on, and also drop a like on this video if you did enjoy it so it gets pushed out to more people. But hopefully this video did help you guys get caught up on everything that's been happening recently, like Khanada dropping Rise and Muz for Bugha and threats, and also everything else that's going on and where the big name teams are currently landing on an A. So hopefully I helped you there, and if I didn't, comment down below if you have any questions and I will make sure to answer them. That's going to do it for me in this video, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.